Oh, Morocco have booked their place in the final of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after defeating Nigeria 4-2 on penalties following a tense semi-final encounter. The match ended in a draw after regulation time and extra time, forcing a penalty shootout in which the North Africans showed greater composure. Morocco will now face Senegal in the final, setting up a highly anticipated clash as both sides chase continental glory. Now, FG has come out to order and directed banks and financial technology companies to begin remitting value-added tax, VAT, on service fees charged to customers. The directive is part of efforts to boost government revenue and ensure compliance with existing tax laws within the financial services sector. Industry stakeholders are expected to adjust their systems accordingly, as the move may have implications for transaction costs and overall service pricing. Now, your groups in the Ndekeleon community and Anambra State have staged a protest against the alleged tenure elongation granted to the outgoing President General of the Town Union. After all efforts to hold on election for said position was thwarted with excuses from the electoral umpire that only those who pay their Town Union fees are eligible to vote, which contradicts Anambra State Constitution and that of Nigeria as a whole. The protesters expressed dissatisfaction with what they described as a violation of the community's constitution and democratic principles. They called on relevant authorities and traditional leaders to intervene and ensure a transparent leadership transition to maintain peace and unity in the community. Good morning, my name is Sharon Enemchukwu and I welcome you once again to Morning Pulse, the pulse of Nigerian politics. Doing this with me this morning, I have with me Miss Ifoma Oji. Good morning, how are you doing? Ifoma, are you still there?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Sharon. How are you doing this morning?
Very well. Although I think a lot of Nigerians will have to say something very different, seeing that we lost to Morocco last night. How are you feeling about that?
Well, the match. I didn't actually watch the match. Like I heard.
Are you not a patriotic Nigerian at that?
I won't lie. I won't lie. I think when they were about going in for the match, I said something about Nigerians being kind of optimistic and pessimistic at the same time, that we shouldn't, pour all hope in for Nigerians.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we should, hope for the best, but at the same time, anything can happen. So it's a competition. So one person have to win and the other have to lose.
Today
it's unfortunate that our dear Super Eagles lost the match, but they have been a number of wins for Nigerians. I just hope that the next one will be playing against is it which country?
They're out of the entire.
I can't remember.
Alright, so today I'm just informing everybody that I'm not acting in as the host, but I'm coming in as a guest today on the conversation.
Wasn't enough.
Yes, so I'm just informing everybody that I'm acting in as a co-host now, not just as, just going to ask the questions. I'm going to be giving my opinion, seeing that I'm the only one in the studio today. And I think personally for me, with that particular match and the matches before now, it has really been interesting to see how well our Super Eagles have been playing on the team and the countries that they've successfully beaten in previous matches. But this is a pattern. I don't know if you would agree with me with Super Eagles and how they have these matches. It is those times when they're closest to winning that we see them losing the matches. And not to say that they didn't play very well last night. 0-0 both on the first quarter of the match and later on extra time. Now the penalties is where people have a problem with. and they've been calling out someone in particular for the loss of that penalty shot, Chukwueze, when he was given the opportunity to score, but he didn't. And another thing Nigerians are also asking about concerning that match was the fact that the coach had to call back Victor Osimhen and bring in Chukwueze to play that. And I think a lot of Nigerians have different questions, and the way and manner and composure we saw with Chukwueze on the field, him chewing gum and all of that, is almost as if he was less enthusiastic about scoring that goal for Nigeria. And when Morocco qualified, you could almost feel it in the atmosphere, where everybody felt just that sadness, that intense sadness at losing. But if you look at it, right, I'm going to say that personally for me, I did not see us taking that cup. I'm sorry to say. There were a lot of hope and just optimism, but I really didn't see us just claiming that, because number one, Nigeria, we have a whole lot to even sort out. I even think personally there are a lot of blood crying out against the country, with people being killed, kidnappers here and there, and all of that. So I don't know. I just think maybe for me, I saw that coming. I will still find a way to link good governance to everything until we find a way to fix our home and fix governance in Nigeria. Then it would reflect in other things, because we've also seen the Super Eagle complain about them not being adequately compensated and all of that. So good governance does trickle down to all of these things. Now also something we're going to mention is the fact that Rabiu, who promised them a huge amount of money, over $500,000, has come out to say that he is going to ensure they get that money whether they win or they lose. So now that they've lost, we're seeing that he's coming out to say that he's going to make do on that promise. But what do you have to say, Ifeoma, on that?
Okay, I didn't get what you just asked right now.
So the popular billionaire, Nigerian billionaire Rabiu, who came out to make a promise to the Super Eagles that if they win and they beat them in this match, he's going to give them the amount of $500,000. Now they lost last night, but he has come out to say that regardless of that loss, he's still going to make do on his promise. What do you have to say? Seeing as Nigerians, some Nigerians are saying, well, he could have put that money somewhere else, healthcare, just somewhere, and not giving the money to the Super Eagles. Well, what is your take on that?
Okay, I think first off, it's really nice that someone had to, provide that motivating factor for Super Eagles to thrive against Morocco. Just like what you said, Nigerians are saddled with insecurity, bad governance, and the rest. And yes, it has ripple effect on our players out there, because when a situation whereby they have better governance, good roads to drive them even to where they are going into, those are the things that will spur you to make your country proud, even though you earn money from it at the same time. But then talking about the guy that promised them money if they win the match against Morocco and they lost, and he still said that regardless that he will still give them the money. I think it's actually beautiful to see, and it's beautiful to hear such a thing, that no matter what, I am still going to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. Because let's just take everything off Nigeria. The Super Eagles have actually been trying. Even most of the time they don't give the win or bring back the cup for Nigerians, but they have actually been trying in so many matches that they've been playing. And I'm trying to remember what
I think that's where I want to leave it at right now. The fact that they've been doing their best, and they have indeed in the past not been able to claim or bring back the cup, but we'll give them the fact that they've really put in effort in ensuring that they just play well on the field. Now, still talking about what is going on in Nigeria and politics and all of that, we're also seeing now that the federal government has come out to announce that they are going to be having a 7.5 increase on VAT on all bank electronic charges and transactions going forward, and all of this has caused a lot of uproar, especially the VAT. A lot of Nigerians don't understand how exactly the government plans on tasking people, so they go, out of fear, they go ahead to now do the taxing themselves. But we're hearing now that 7.5% from banks will be remitted to the federal government. What's your take, Ifoma?
Sure. When we started this whole tax thing, tax implementation 1st January, this has garnered a lot of controversies, confusion. Nigerians are not even, they are not even giving full details of what this implies. And I remember what's it called? I'm trying to remember his name, the person in charge of tax, and even the federal government have come out to give a breakdown, details of how this is going to happen, and how if you're earning below 800,000 naira, that you will not be taxed. But we are seeing right now with this now, they said then that the poor are going to be protected or exempted, and it's more like a means of helping the poor, according to what the federal government said. But with this VAT now that we are talking about, 7.5% out of anything that any transaction you be performing in bank. And I ask, who is assessing the bank? Is it not both the poor and the rich? So if you're saying that you're protecting the poor, how are you protecting the poor? Sure, and see, this 7.5% might actually be small when you're performing maybe 500 naira transaction or 1,000 naira transaction. But a situation whereby you consistently, maybe 1,000 on a row, 10,000 on a row, calculate everything, you see that this is a lot of money. And it is so painful that the only thing the federal government is actually concerned about is this tax, is this whole VAT thing. And you mentioned earlier that some people have gone ahead to start taxing people. I remember was it in Lagos, a lady came out to decry that she was taxed. She was asked to pay a certain amount of money for a tax or for VAT, whatever she called it. And it is quite sad that there is a huge disconnect between the government and the people that they govern. We are still grappling in insecurity. We've not even kind of adjusted to the fact that we'll have to pay more to being poor, and we are getting this new development right now. It is extremely sad, and I pity a lot of people, including these people that are into POS business, because it's a situation whereby you do transaction, you give people cash of maybe let's say 20,000 customers, and they are removing that 7.5 percent VAT from you. By the time you accumulate everything, you see that is a lot of money, and at the end of the day, it's the people that you are giving or rendering services that will pay the brunt of everything, which is still the poor that you're asking. So for me, there's nothing like helping. It's not helping the poor, so it's not helping Nigerians. And it's so sad that the ones that Nigerians have been paying for a very long time now, we've not seen its fruition. We've not seen it channeled to better education, better road, better infrastructure, name them. But they are coming up with more policies to tax Nigeria the more, and tax the poor the more. It is so sad. It
is indeed sad seeing that, when someone who was in Germany came out to give out a long list of what he benefits from his tax, and he came out and he posted that on his account, on his X account, and he asked Nigerians, okay, you that you're paying this tax in Nigeria, what are the benefits that you're getting? Where really is this money going to? Now, according to the government, they said that the reason for this tax is to boost government revenue and to ensure compliance with the already existing tax laws. But now if we're boosting revenue and the citizens can't feel it, where exactly is this money going to? I think that's the question we need to be demanding from the government. The fact that when you talk about comparison with other countries, right, when you talk about taxes in other nations, you see that their taxes are actually working for them. You see situations whereby they get a certain percentage of money if they're unemployed. You see that the money that the government puts aside for senior citizens is quite huge, and when you get to a certain age, you're being taken to that home and your money actually works for you. But at this point, I don't really think that we've gotten to that place and that point as a nation with the right structures in place where we can tell exactly where our taxes are going to and how to place it in a way and manner that it would benefit us as a people. I think what the government, where we are at right now, is just the government coming out to announce tax and taking tax, but now turning that tax into something that is going to affect us positively as a people. I don't think we've gone there, but still talking tax and this new addition now, do you think that we're better, we are more prepared, that the government has done enough to sensitize Nigerians as to how exactly they plan about going about taxing people, or should they pause up on this tax and maybe focus more on orientation?
First off, let me start with Nigerians do not have problem with paying tax.
Oh, they do.
What they want,
they do have a problem.
Look at what I'm saying now. Most Nigerians don't have a problem with paying tax, but what they want to see is better services. They want to hear accountability. They want to hear transparency on how this is being transmitted or translated into better governance and improving people's lives. Those are the things that Nigerians want to hear. Then talking about what the question you just asked right now, I actually think that most Nigerians do not actually know what they are paying for, and that is where there is gap between the government and the people that they govern. I think the Nigerians actually deserve more sensitization on this, because let me still take it back to the lady that came out to say that we should explain this tax thing to her, because she's not really understanding it. That how is it that some individuals are now taxing Nigerians that she thought is going to be done, what's it called, digitally? That why is it that people are now taxing? And a lot of Nigerians, if you can agree with me, on the internet there's been a lot of uproar. There's a lot of confusion as to how this is going to be implemented. How is it going to how are people going to be charged for this thing? There was even a time that Nigerians were asking questions about if they're going to do registration, and at the end of the day the federal government said that there will be no registration, that is I think they said it's your NIN number that will be used for the registration, that you already registered. So a lot of Nigerians are confused on how this whole thing is going to be implemented, and that is the duty of the government, to provide accountability, to provide clarity for the people that they govern. But you see that they are not even interested on whether the Nigerian citizens are aware of how they want to go about this, or how they want to go about implementation, or how they want to go about charging Nigerians. The only thing that they are focused on is on how to charge Nigerians, how to extract money from the poor, and it is quite sad. And you asking me a question if this should actually be postponed or withheld, I think yes, they should postpone this. I think Nigerians need to hear more. We need to hear where this monies will be channeled to. Is it going to be channeled to insecurity? Is it going to be to security? Is it going to be channeled to infrastructure? Is it going to be channeled to improving the lives of Nigerians, empowerment, and the rest of them? We need to hear. Nigerians deserve better services. We indeed deserve to hear where our money is going to. They deserve transparency. They deserve clarity on how you want to go about this before you talk about this. And like what I said earlier, and I still maintain it, most Nigerians do not actually have a problem with paying tax. The problem they have is it going to translate to the lives of Nigerians? And the one that they have been paying for before, what are the fruition? What are the results of those ones? Those are the things that Nigerians want to hear.
All right. I think also the situation about whether Nigerians are confused where their money is going to did not start with Nigerians. I think it is from the government, where the Senate came out and told us that the federal government have a different tax agreement from what they decided in the Senate House, and I think that's where the whole confusion started, because even the Senate, they are not clear as to where exactly or what exactly the federal government is dishing out to the people. But even after they raised that concern concern, the federal government still went ahead to go about what they planned, coming out to announce the increased taxes here and there, and it seems as though they've paid no notice or paid no mind to what the Senate is saying, and we can see that Nigerians generally are just confused as to what this tax means. And I also think that because we're over 60 years old now as a nation, and this is the first time where the Nigerian government, not the first time, VAT has been normal, but this is the time where they have officially come out to announce that there will be increased taxes. And I think because we're not used to that, we spend so much time just going about our daily activities, but with now the Nigerian government coming out to say this, people are just very confused because this is not the usual. And even with that announcement, as with other things that they have announced in the past, the time frame where they gave for people to really assimilate what they're trying to say, in my opinion, was very short. And that is why even after they have gone ahead to implement these laws, people are still left confused because they don't know exactly what the government is saying. And I think that's where the orientation agency NOAA in Nigeria is lacking and lagging behind in that sense. It's not just coming out to go to newspaper houses and putting it out there in the news that taxes have been increased, but what about those who do not understand, who don't have access to smartphones, who don't have access to internet or even electricity, that that are just there, and they are part of our majority, and leaving them just confused and blank is what has affected us right now as a people. Now we have to touch down in Anambra State, where we're still talking protests. So the other day, we discussed that Edo State in Anambra State is that the people of Ndikele are coming out to protest about a possible political dynasty where we're seeing a tenure elongation. Now this is happening in a small town in Owumba, North local government area of Anambra State, where they were supposed to hold an election to choose their president general for their town. But on the day of the election, the electoral umpire came out to announce that the election would suddenly not hold. And the reason being that the election was supposed to be open and available to people who paid their taxes or paid their dues in that town. And this is not what we know as a people, as a nation. It's against our constitution, where we understand that if you're 18 years and above, you're free to participate in any and every election as long as you can prove your age and your identity as a Nigerian. Now this has led to a protest in Ndikele, where they have come out to just express their grievances to the state government. I think it will be better for us to have a look at those videos so that we understand where exactly their pain is coming from and what exactly they're demanding from the government, and then we can return to the studio and have a full-on conversation. Let's have a look.
Our constitution, Article 14.6, item E, has it that financial secretary of our town union is responsible, and in constitution, for production, update of nominal role of the financial members of Ndikele Welfare Association. How come they could not provide it on the day of the election? It was a calculated, so many of us perceive attempts to sabotage our election. Only for the same town union that has been dissolved, bring a letter to us that their tenure has been extended. We begin to question how. We don't know how, but there was a story that led to obtaining that extension of tenure. Now, our question, what was that we are told? Because Ndikele are supporters of solution government. Are supporters of solution project in Ndikele. We voted massively for Professor Charles because we believe in him. Who must have
And I think when we don't pay attention to small protests like this or situations like this, it can spiral into more things. But anyways, Ifoma, what is your take on it?
I think that was quite a shocker for me. I didn't know that they are equally extremist in Anambra State that will prevent the citizen of Anambra State, is it Dikelo or what? I can't pronounce the name, from exercising their franchise. It's shocking and it is sad to hear. I didn't even know that there's a part of the state or a part of a community where you have to pay a certain amount of money just to vote or exercise your rights, your civic duties as a citizen. And it begs to ask the question, how far the Constitution, is it that we are no longer following the law or the Constitution of Nigeria according to Section 77 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that every citizen, so long as you've attained the age of 18 years, you have that fundamental human right to vote and be voted for in any election, so long as you are a registered member. And I'm like, how is it that we passed that stage and we're now in the stage where you have to pay a certain amount of money just to vote? It's quite sad. And then you talk about this whole political dynasty and tenure elongation. I didn't equally know that there are people that are equally interested in that dynasty, attaining that. Yes, that's interest, or I have that interest in Anambra.
We thought it was just Wiki.
It's the first time I'm hearing something like this, and people should not be prevented to vote or exercise their rights as citizens of Nigeria. And I said something when we talked about this dynasty and this whole selfish and barbaric nature of African leaders always wanting to cling power till their last breath. It is quite sad. I thought that when someone is getting older or getting closer to their grave, that they become wiser. But I think in Nigeria, most times the reverse is the case. When you're getting older, your brain is depreciating, you become more foolish. Because tell me why somebody will be giving the excuse or will be elongating his own tenure, not giving the people the right to vote for him. But it is not far-fetched, because I know most definitely that when you provide better governance for people, and maybe there is anything of you having interest in clinching power or staying extra tenure for doing extra tenure, that people can actually support you if you provide better governance for the people. But with what we are seeing right now in Anambra State, it is not the situation here. It's a situation of people that are being trampled on their fundamental human rights. And I think that this news should get to the ears of the governor, or get to the eyes of the governor of Anambra State, Mr. Soludo, to do something about it.
I think that is well said, because also the question I'm asking is, I thought this was only with Wike and Rivers State where we're seeing godfatherism in this way and manner, and the fact that we're seeing tenure elongation. These are the issues. Just yesterday we talked about the Ugandan president who has been ruling for 40 years and is also planning to run for election in 2026 this year. And I think this is where it all starts from your town union, when you feel as though it is rightful for you to elongate your tenure just because you can, not minding what the people say, what their choices are. It is as though we have forgotten the definition of democracy, and it is really sad to see, because I remember then in school, the definition of democracy was the easiest to cram. It was the easiest to understand. It is simple. It is easy to understand. It is for the people, of the people, and by the people, and that is as easy as ABC. So growing up and seeing our politicians who really have advanced in age and expecting them to understand just the caprices of democracy going forward, it has been really disappointing to see that they have failed on that level. Now, in Indicalion, where we've not really seen them in the news as often to come out to hear that they are protesting, and in that number, it really is concerning. And I think these are situations and scenarios where if it's not handled appropriately, it can turn into something else, because when a group of people are agitating for something and they're overlooked, you can see that it ends up always becoming something else. And if it is not curbed now, I don't know where it's going to end or where it can lead to. So really, I would agree with you that I do think that this particular story needs to get to the ears and eyes of the state government of Anambra State, so that they're on top of the matter and know exactly what is going on and how to deal with it appropriately. Anyways, this is what we're going to call it a wrap on the show today. Thank you very much, Miss Ifoma, for joining me on the conversation. It was an interesting one, just doing this with you. Thank you again for joining. And also to our viewers for joining us as well. Thank you very much for your shares, your comments, and your likes. If this is your first time, you're welcome. Ensure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. You can find me as well across all media at Sharon Enemchuku. And Jiri Foma.
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Miss Select.
Alright, till we come your way later today, do have a good morning.